Why duality? This is a question I've had for a while when I first discovered it. And then I feel like more was made clear. I'm still in my process of learning. And in this place of learning, I share what I have learned so that I can make it more concrete within me. In my comprehension of where I am at today, I feel that duality was meant for us to learn in our school of divinity. This is what we had to learn from, this or that. Our experiences of creation as a fractal of being creator, as a son or daughter. We actually had to have it expressed this way as being a son or daughter of God, because knowing that we are a fractal of source, mother, father, was just too much for us to even consider. Even now, sometimes it's too much to consider based upon our indoctrination. We needed to have separation because of the creation of ego that resides within us, which has been a tool used for expression and experience. So let's talk about the ego. The ego fears what it does not know, and it fears those who are different. It fears anything that does not make it feel accepted. But that which it is looking for, it is actually opposed to the most: oneness. Because in oneness, the ego no longer exists, as it is that which says that we are separate. So that which is separate is looking for the very thing that it is afraid of, to become one. Such an oxymoron. So until we perfect love, which casts out fear, which is directly attached to our ego, we will continue to judge, divide, and oppose all that doesn't look like the ego that we have shaped within ourselves through our likes and our dislikes. And of course, that looks different to every ego. Then you have the ego that is looking for others like it because it doesn't want to be alone. So it will seek and find that which is like it, a tribe where they can belong. And in that tribe, if it is ego-driven and not spirit-driven, it will band together with others so as to have greater strength. And in that combined strength, these egos will use their energy to eliminate those that are against it, or they'll even silence it. And in times of scarcity, these egos will take from other egos that it doesn't value, that it doesn't have any remorse attached to it because it is different. So therefore it doesn't really exist. So these egos will still steal resources, kill or eliminate or silence that which scares it. Because really it's afraid of everything that isn't like it. And these egos that are not spiritual, as spiritual opposes that of the ego which is of the flesh, these egos never seek to know or learn from other egos that are different. These egos that are not spiritual in nature become dogmatic in their stance. And then they, in their fear, they look for the strength from the other egos that are like it to help justify this stance in order to get the opposing egos to back off or to be silenced. Ego doesn't really know love, but only survival. And it is too afraid to see that there may be something else out there. Because if there truly was, they would have to abandon their tribe of like egos and go it alone, because now they are different. And in actuality, in their difference, they would be shunned. The journey of the lone ego is that of a brave one who chooses to find its way back home. It is willing to break free of the pack, the tribe, so that it can forge new paths that it has been called to. the seeking and finding of the source spark within. It is not willing to stay put within the lesser dogmas and traditions of comfort, as it has seen comfort as that which stagnates. This is for the curious ego that knows that there is something else greater, as this ego is a pioneer that chooses not to settle in the lesser, because the lesser no longer has any value to them. As a lone ego, they may feel very lonely in their pioneering trek and attempting to find their way back home to Source. I'm going to make this a little more personal. For those of you who feel alone, as I was in this category for many years, as one rejected from groups of egos that had band together against me, we try many things to see what is and what is not love. And in our journey, we first look outward through experiencing love outwardly, but then we found that there was fear attached to it, which is ego. Fear of loss, because we have learned that people die or leave or hurt us, which all ends up in the inevitable of separation. This hurts us, and we go into mourning. So then, when we've had enough of the outward love and the pain and the suffering, we seek inwardly. It is usually this pain and suffering, this mourning, which usually is the catalyst that is necessary to drive us inwardly. And in going inwardly, this ultimately will reveal to us that which we have longed for, that we never found outwardly. Connecting to the divine, which is sustainable, source, unconditional love. But we had to experience outwardly this or that, leading to pain and suffering, to determine what is from what is not. We had to know that outward love is not sustainable, and only the inward love is, and that is when our eyes were truly opened. Love of this kind, unconditional, is the key. It unlocks duality for us and solves the mystery. That is when we find the narrow path within duality that few find. Very few find it. The path between the good and evil, between the light and dark, between this or that, to find the sustainable is. We call this place finding zero point, the place of potential energy, oneness, unified. This is the place of potential energy, a static hold of endless potentiality, the ability to create good and evil, dark and light, through the power of unconditional love. A creator cannot judge its creation because it is unconditional love. Judging is within duality as a tool to find the difference between this or that. That is what the seraphim, serpent, came to teach Adam and Chava. They had no knowledge of why they were placed in the garden, and they had to be set on a journey to experience this or that. They had to be pushed out of their comfort to be able to experience the external in order to come back to find the internal that is eternal. All things start as one and then fractal out into a dual system having two potentials that are opposite frequencies of each other. You can see this in the story of Adam and Chava, represented by the yin and the yang. The best way to describe this, other than male and female, is by seeing light and dark. Let's give them the number 13, for example, the position that their frequency holds. Initially, they are as one, as 13, the position of their frequency as a fractal of source. Then they become divided. One is the positive 13 and the other is the negative 13. They are still 13, but are opposite ends in the dipole. This or that as the same, but with a positive or negative energy signature. So in connecting to Adam and Chava, Adam, positive energy signature, and Eve, negative signature energy. And without judging, they just are, neither as good or evil, as judging had not entered in yet. This creates a static tension between the positive and negative pole that is called a standing wave, which makes these energies manifest in this creative space as matter. Without duality, creation as we know it would cease to exist. Negative space and positive space manifested into something that our five senses can do something with in order to learn this or that. This is why tohu and bohu were created, what we know as formless and void in English, to hold the space open in the system of duality to experience this or that, positive or negative energies in our school of divinity. When we cease to learn, it is because we have become this in the school of this or that, positive or negative energies, and matter ceases to be as we have rendered everything clear back into one as spirit. And the spirit hovered over the tohu bohu, the spirit of Elohim, from whence we came as spirit, as who we are, having experienced creation in a manifested body within manifest creation, and then returning back home. It is in the middle part of experience, that which is in between the beginning and the returning, that has been purposed so that we can use our creative power in meekness, which is creative power under control, experiencing our creation so that we can continue to create from the place of 0 point. Because in 0 point, there is no distortion of this or that, because it is just as is, as all potential as one. I am this or that as nothing, where everything is. What is oneness? It is taking your vision and connecting it with mine. There was a great chasm and divide between you and I, a gross darkness that at times brought despair. We were once united as one in the beginning, but just like breath, in the inhale, there must be an exhale. As I released you, I set you on your journey through my exhale. You were brave and wanted to go to experience living and breathing on your own. But with no experience other than oneness, there was no way to prepare you for what you were going to experience. Fragment by fragment, I exhaled, and light spread outwardly. Separate journeys of discovery. Pioneers sent out from my house, sent out on a mission to go from here, learn and return. But you would have to find your way back. You were to have assistance, even if you weren't aware of it. Struggling in the darkness, you found fragments of light to fill you up, because when you were sent out, you became empty of all, void of everything that was of all, not even remembering where you were from or even where you were going, lost and destitute. But you set your soul on a journey anyway. You are so brave. Storm after storm, through cycles of chaos, sometimes even being shipwrecked, losing everything, you still set sail, knowing that the North Star would lead you back home. This inward pull, a homing device, once you found it within, placed you on the path that you had intuitively been searching for. In the dark, the light began to dawn, your great awakening. You were thrilled to see this fragment of light, no longer in gross darkness. You now could see that you were truly never lost, nor were you blind. It was just all experience, which was the very reason why you left my place, my house. Mother has guided you. She woke you out of your dark slumber to show you a glimmer of the light, the hope that dawned within your soul. It's this way I must travel. You calibrated your compass and you set sail again. But this time, you were given the ability to self-level, to right the ship even when it would capsize. Nothing could stop you or prevent you from your original journey to find your way back home with treasures of experience of your own making. You were always your own captain. It was always your journey. But now, these rough and turbulent waters have become one river, a flow back, no longer full of chaos, but a purpose direction, because you remember the way back home. You can't wait to bring back your treasure, your storehouses of experience, to share with all the fragments who are making their way back home, the tapestry of woven garments that blend seamlessly together in a beautiful light. Now one river, one stream of consciousness, having perfected love along the way, in the still water of completion, all knowing, all being, all becoming, as one who has embraced all, no longer separated, united and reunited, liberated and bound as one. This is your rest. Welcome home, my brave one. You did well.
We are escaped like a bird.